I'm gonna try something. Hopefully I don't get disconnected. No, this is lost cause. Okay, damn it. Okay. Hi everybody. Forgot to set up my Wi-Fi hotspot so I could sign on to my computer and share things. What's up everyone? My name is Zach Haller. Welcome to Trending Topics. Oh, there's Shane. Hello. Hi Jan. Hi everybody. Oh, wow. What's going on in this crazy world? What is everybody drinking? So, share. I hope you guys like the comment. I don't expect Debbie Wasserman Schultz to join us, but I would really appreciate it if she did because, you know, she's going to be the guest of honor here tonight, whether she likes it or not. And we'll get to that in a little bit. So let me know where you are. I'm in Seattle, and my name is Zach Haller, and this I'm already spilling, guys, already spilling. I completely just poured sangria all over my crotch, so that's great, and it can only go up from here. So I was gonna ask you guys slyly what you were drinking while I poured my drink, but then I just poured it all over my body. So I am drinking sangria tonight in a toast to Barcelona. I'm so sad about this. It's like I personally have my responses to when I hear about tragedies, and it's just like I don't put my real emotions on the internet very much. It's just like so fucking upsetting to read about what's going on. And so Barcelona is one of my favorite cities, one of the most beautiful cities on earth. And interestingly, I was planning on using my glass from Barcelona for tonight's show anyway, because I'm painting my apartment this weekend, and I'll tell you that in a second, but I'm also drinking sangria, thinking of the people in Spain. So to those who we lost in Spain, I know there were several casualties. May they rest in peace, and fuck terrorism, or whatever it is. See, I'm like buying into the mainstream media. It's like terrorism. It's just like they just tell you what to think. They put the first words in your head and you describe it like that, whether you realize it or not. That's part of the problem with the media. But the reason I wanted to show you this glass was because as you get used to my setup, so the setup is going to be a little bit different next week, because as some of you know, I moved into a new apartment about a month ago. And I am painting this coming weekend, and so I'm not going to be on the internet too much because I've got a lot of work to do. But I was like, what do I want to paint? And one of my good friends is this amazing mosaic artist, and I was like, I want this room green, but I don't want it all one color, so I'm like, I kind of want the room blue, but then I need to have the kitchen kind of yellow, and I want to have orange because that's my favorite somewhere. And then I just was looking at my cup from Parque Güell in Barcelona, which is this amazing park in Barcelona that is just covered in mosaics and pillars and weird, interesting architecture and art, and it's one of the most magical places on earth. And so my friend who's a mosaic artist is coming up from Portland, and we're basically it's so dramatic, sorry I'm dramatic, but I'm basically gonna emulate this mosaic around my apartment. So I'll have like just these different shapes, kind of yellow, orange, green, blue, and then like random colors here and there. So I partly want to have different colors to have behind me for live streams and stuff. But anyway, so that is inspired by this glass, so I wanted to share this glass tonight anyway, just to show you before I paint my apartment. But now I'm using it also dual purpose for Barcelona. So we'll talk about Charlottesville here. And so the rule with me here is when I drink, you drink. So sorry if you missed that first one on your own. There's obviously no requirement to be drinking only when I'm drinking. Drink whatever you want. Whatever's legal. Water is life, so feel free. I'm like already just pouring myself another drink. I'm like, better top it off. I just haven't hit sangria in a while, and I'm really excited about it. It's got fresh peaches in it. So, one of the things that I, am trying to do in participating in the internet, social media, talking about politics, is trying to make it just normal to talk about politics and chat about current events and not feel like you always have to be like on message and like really thought out and like all this stuff. I have been a person who's always been interested in politics, and my entire life I like and the pariah at family dinners here and there because like, oh, Zach's talking again. Oh, it's more bad news. Zach's such a downer. And I'm like, sorry, I am legitimately always bothered by how fucking corrupt and awful our country is. Like, it's been most of my life where I've just been like, why are we at war? Why are we just still doing this? And people don't like to hear that, and so there's just this negative stigma about talking about politics. I know I'm preaching to the choir, but I think it's just good to be having normal conversations with other people. And I didn't watch her segment yet, but I hear that Debbie, the same progressive, has a really good segment. I've heard many good things about it from other people talking about how the deep state's biggest fear right now is us talking to each other. And I think that is one of the most important things. And I'm going to try and get that out in different ways in the stuff that I write coming up. But it really is the most important thing, that we are all just talking to each other and reaching out to each other and knowing each other exist. 300 million Americans, like 320 something million people in this country. There are so many people that you can go reach out and meet. You can get closer to your friends, to your family, to colleagues, to coworkers. There's so many opportunities to just extend yourself into life more and to like get to know more people and to just like show them care and sincerity and not be like, oh, we need to talk about politics all the time, but just like, just slowly like just ingratiate yourself more in people's real lives and watch less TV and watch less mainstream media and just like work all away from that as much as you can toward each other and just open this dialogue up, because this is exactly why the deep state tries to distract us with crazy media, is because they want us fixated on their message and not sitting around chatting with each other about what we should do about it. It makes perfect sense, and you really have to think about that and realize that that's part of the reason they use these really inflammatory tactics, is not just because it gets them ratings, that makes them money, and there's a political motivation behind it, like obviously already two big problems to begin with, that it makes them money. They're just trying to make their advertisers money, and these advertisers are shitty ass corporations anyway with no morals, so it's like they're trying to make money off of it, and they're trying to basically socially condition you, tell you what to think, tell you what to say, get out ahead of you so they can pollute your thoughts on what's going on in the world. And they need it to be inflammatory because for all of those reasons, but also because it takes us away from our conversations with each other and it keeps us vacuumed into what they're saying. And, I obviously am constantly reading the mainstream media to read it and be like, what the fuck is this shit? Because it's obviously just like their playbook, their just agenda, like out in the open. So you have to read it to some extent, but I'm just making a mention about how I think it's just really important that everybody's talking to each other right now. Post-partisan world. No parties. Don't worry about parties. People, I think that the Democratic Party needs to just die because it's completely corrupt, and that's fine. It can just be done. That's fine. Just be over. It's bankrupt. It's corrupt. It's over. That's just done. Everyone can just move on. It will just die in 2018. There's no use putting any more time into it. People who are just trying to milk it for its last dollars. They know that it's not going to go anywhere. They have no message. They don't even want it to go anywhere. They've been exposed for just not even caring and just trying to pay themselves. It's just money laundering and grifting. It's insane. So, but the thing is every different state, it's different. In more Republican states, it's a different thing to be Republican. In more Democratic states, it's a different thing to be Democrat. It really varies from state to state. So I don't think that people should be saying, oh, there's just so much of this partisan, like, oh, Democrat versus Republican, winning. It's like, at this point for us, it's not about winning, obviously. It's about replacing corporate elected officials with humans that are not corrupted by money and that are going to go in there and just say, look, I have no agenda other than to make everything fair as quickly as possible. And that's a really simplistic mindset. And if 300 million of us just insert ourselves into the world politically, I mean, that's, obviously there's no way I'm going to be able to tell all 300 million people, but we can, and just tell people to get more involved and just insert yourself and be fair and, just ask questions and move towards fairness and getting money out of everything. And so with Charlottesville, I wrote an article about it, which it's funny because I just, as I'm trying to read what's going on, I have to, organize it in my head. And you have to read from Twitter, see what people are saying on the ground wherever it is. You have to read what some entities are reporting. You see what's getting reported, and you puzzle piece it together. So when I'm puzzle piecing the news together when I'm reading, I'm like, okay, well, if something complicated like this is happening, I'm going to make my notes. And here, I guess I'm just going to print an article about it. So I wrote an article about it, and I think that it gives a good view on how we need to be looking at Charlottesville from a big picture perspective and not be buying into exactly what the media is telling us to think and feel. Because, and I'm in a really good mood, so I don't want to get into the heaviness of the Charlottesville situation. It's kind of past, in terms of these rapid news cycles and how often I want to be talking about stuff and what else is going on. But I think I would recommend you read my article. There's a couple other articles there's a lot of good, better stuff coming on. But basically, I mean, and it's just so uncomfortable to talk about, but basically it's just like the deep state is just absolutely using these financial means. I don't even want to get into it because I'm like, well, I have to be exactly precise. Basically, everybody knows what happened in Charlottesville by now, and it's just we're figuring out what the depth of the roots of both sides are, because it appears that there was basically controlled opposition on both sides between the counter-protesters and the protesters. We know Soros was involved, and we know that there's all these groups that are basically, it was like the United States just experienced the Ukrainian coup that happened in 2014. Like Clinton and Obama literally just took their same notes and were like, let's do that again here at the capital of the resistance. I wasn't really prepared to get into it. I didn't really want to think about all this and explain all this, so hopefully people aren't expecting me to tell the story of what happened. I just wanted to talk about the takeaways and what's going on. So basically, what I think the most important thing is that people are really realizing this is just another huge, media firestorm that they're just pouring gas. Hard Bastard did a thing last night. It was fantastic. And he talked about this concept of pouring gas on the problem. And that's exactly what the mainstream media is doing, is they're pouring gas on these legitimate problems, just trying to get you to be distracted and think about them and freak out. They're doing their distraction game for many reasons. It's no coincidence that last week the DNC's Russian hacking narrative was completely obliterated. Cheers to the Russian hacking narrative getting finally and utterly, completely obliterated. We've all known this, but the rest of the world is finally it made it up to Bloomberg. Congratulations to the disobedient media team for everything they did on that. And so obviously it's hilarious, and I posted about this today, but basically last week people who criticized me from the troll army said that I was a Russian agent, and now this week I'm a Nazi sympathizer. Literally in the last week I have become a Nazi sympathizer, whereas for the last 12 months of my life I've been a Russian agent. I've been a Russian troll. So that was really interesting identity crisis that I just had. And that's basically exactly what the media is doing right now, is they're shifting their narrative. They're trying to come up with a new line of attack on Trump because they've been using the Russiagate bullshit this entire time. Russiagate was bullshit. We fucking told you so. And so now they're throwing in the kitchen sink, and they have every possible kitchen sink they can because they have so much money that they have a million fucking kitchen sinks, and this is one of their biggest ones. But basically, they're changing the narrative from it's your Russia is the problem. Now that didn't work, so they're going worse and more disgusting into basically just repurposing anyone who's on Trump's side. He didn't condemn the attack enough, so you're a Nazi sympathizer or white supremacist or a fascist. And it's a really slippery slope, and it's fucked up because for a lot of reasons. But the main thing is that it takes this really, 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 really small percentage of extremists, very, very, very minor, tiny, tiny, tiny sliver of the population of people that really actually have these disgusting ideologies. They're not that common. That's the thing. The media tries to make it seem like everyone outside is is either on the absolute far left extremist and is out for blood, or is on the far right extremist and is out for blood. And they want you to think that that's what's out, it's what it's like outside. So you're constantly always paranoid and fearing both sides of this equation. These are very, 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 very small fractions of people. Anyone you talk to, if you sit down and chat and shoot the shit with someone that lives in your area, you could probably talk to them for 15-20 minutes about just what's going on in your area casually and in a friendly way, and already have enough information to know that regardless of your political affiliations, you're the same type of person. You're nice, you're open-minded, you have common sense, you have common decency. We all do. The deep state and the media don't want us to think that everyone is just a very common sense, common decency person. So they're trying to basically show the extremists on both sides, blow them up, just completely exaggerate all of this drama, just like they did with Trump. It's the same exact. Actual Flaticus tweeted, he's like, we just saw $1.2 billion worth of campaign ads. Do you not still recognize it? Like, this is exactly the same. This is so much more similar to what we saw during the election than the Russiagate stuff. So just don't buy into it, and really just use it as clear evidence to the people that you know that the media is a complete tool of the establishment and a complete tool of the establishment that runs the war industry all over the world. And that is, I realize, I have so many tweets and thoughts that go out, but I tweeted the other day, the media never tells you to protest war. How interesting is that? Isn't that weird when you think about it? The media never tells you to protest war. They tell you to do all of these things. The media tells you, if you don't like that monument, vandalize it. If you don't like that politician, assault that person. They're inciting violence and they're inciting vandalism, but they won't say it's wrong that we're bombing and drone killing with robot drones civilians in 3 to 7 countries, and contribute. I mean, the number of special ops that we have just over 100 countries we have military operations, and it's horrifying to think about these things. And then it's like the media's like, oh, Trump didn't speak out hard enough about Charlottesville. It's like the media obviously is just pinpointing and cherry picking what they want you to be mad about, and they're telling you that. And we all just need to just stay calm as much as we can. I mean, obviously there are real serious problems in the country, and we will address them, but in my opinion, it's kind of the yoga mentality that I think is just a really healthy mentality, because we all suffer to some extent in different ways. But in yoga, this principle is non-reactionism, so you always just want to calm down and not react one way or the other. Just calm down to as much as you can, because in any moment, just return to your breathing and breathe. And having a steady and stable and comfortable mind will help you endure what you're going through and give you the most comfort in deciding how to react to the situation. And I think that's just a really healthy mindset. And so I think that folks should kind of keep that in mind. It's just non-reactionism in regards to the frenzy that the media is barking at. So that's kind of my major takeaway from Charlottesville, is that the media is trying to package this to make extremists out of both sides. The thought police is coming in on a lot of this, and we really have to be careful. It's just, oh God, and I don't even want to get into it because it's so serious that I was in the mood to just chat and get to Debbie tonight. And so it's just so stressful because there are such serious problems with both the Antifa organization and the white supremacist faction in this country. And they both trouble me insane. There's so much going on, and I'm my brain wants to just be loose and light, and I didn't sign up for addressing all these really hard topics tonight, so I don't think I'm going to. But I did see that Trump was giving this press conference, and he went on this rant, and it was about the monuments, and everything is going on right now, and I'm not even prepared to talk about it, so I'm just gonna make one comment. Trump basically said to these reporters at this conference, talking about it, I didn't just saw this one isolated part, but he basically, somebody was asked him a question, he just went on this rant about Washington being a slave owner. He asked the reporter about Jefferson, and it was so unorthodox for a president to just completely put on blast the founding fathers. But I encourage everyone to keep sharing information about all of the horrible things that have happened in history, because if as long as we keep waking people up to the fact that it's the Native American genocide that started this country, 80 to 100 million people were killed, that the more people really kind of realize how atrocious and unconscionable it is that this is our country and that's how this all began, the more people understand that, and the more people that really understand the long, long, disturbing history of oppression of slavery and the black community, the more people really dwell on these two things, the better. Because it's really hard to fathom that we basically committed genocide of 80 to 100 million people, native population basically exterminated, and then we enslaved black people. It's just unconscionable. It's so hard, and I don't, I'm just a random person coming from the internet, and so I don't even feel like I have the right to like speak on these issues, because it's so hard to do any justice to it. But the more people share information about the horrible racial oppression and genocide that is in this country's history, the better. And just the more open conversations there are, the better. I had a guest post on my Medium blog that I would encourage everyone to read, and I'll share that too. A friend wrote a beautiful, amazing essay called Letter to My White Friends, and I would encourage everyone to read it. It's an outstanding piece by my friend Phaedra, and it's great. So I will post that in here later. And we'll move on to the Wasserman Schultz situation, because I've been in a good mood because of this today. But so today what had happened was, I'm just like, fuck, there's so much going on right now, and it's really intense. And my heart goes out to all of my brothers and sisters across the country. I love you guys all. And we will get through this together. It's good. So the struggle continues. So we celebrate where we can. We enjoy the Schadenfreude where we can. Like, for example, today when Debbie Wasserman Schultz's IT aide, Imran Erwan, was indicted on 4 counts of, at least 4, of bank fraud and false statements. Okay, we gotta slow it down. I'm gonna really re-pour this drink, because now we're gonna talk about all of the ramifications that Debbie Wasserman Schultz is dealing with, which is gonna call for a lot of alcoholism. So Debbie, oh Debbie, if you haven't shared this yet, share it and say, Debbie, Zach's about to talk about you. Zach's about to talk about you, Debbie. We're about to have a chat about Debbie Wasserman Schultz and how her career is going down the drain in front of us. So, most of us have been following the A1 Brothers scandal this entire time, and it's amazing to see how everything's progressing. So, and it's just like, Jesus Christ, I want to like tell people like with as much background and detail as possible. I'm like, if I give all the background on this, I'm never going to get here. But basically, if I just assume everybody's familiar with the A1 Brothers scandal, so basically, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, who was running the DNC, and is basically Hillary Clinton's, right arm this entire time. She was her campaign chair in 2007, then was moved into the DNC, and then was moved, when she got fired in the DNC for being exposed for working the primary, she got immediately hired by Hillary Clinton's campaign. And literally, right after she got fired by the DNC and went to Hillary Clinton's campaign, her opening statement, I don't remember what it was, it literally was saying, I'm really excited to work for Hillary. I've always known she's the leader our country needed. She basically expressed her exact bias when accepting her job working for the Clinton campaign right after she lost her job at the DNC, and that was fucking hilarious to me. But anyway, so she has had a shady group of brothers that have been running her IT for so long. It's like, I wish I would have printed out a bunch of stuff, because I wish I would have had like a whole timeline for this, because it's so amazing. But basically, about a month ago, Imran Erwan, who basically has been running this spy ring, there's just so much. I can't even I want to link to everything that I'm saying, so you know that I'm not just like generalizing. So basically, these have been IT staffers, the foreign nationals from Pakistan, been working for Debbie for years and years and years. And basically, they have all the IT for the Democrats, for the Democratic Party, for 30 Democratic Congress people. Basically, all of their IT has been run by this group of brothers, and the main one got picked up fleeing the country about a month ago at Dulles Airport in Texas, Imran A1, and he's basically been indicted, or he was arrested, and we've been sitting, waiting, and then out of nowhere today we got the gift that he was indicted by a grand jury on 4 counts of, I haven't seen the exact indictment papers yet, so I don't know what they exactly were, but the reports are saying that it's bank fraud and false statements. And bank fraud, here's to an indictment for bank fraud. huge, huge, huge ramifications. And then we have to drink to false statements too, because this is literally the Clinton, Wasserman, Obama network to the T is bank fraud and false statements. Oh my god, it's just too perfect. It's so fucking amazing that these are the two things that are bringing him down, is because basically now Debbie, to any extent that Debbie or any of the people that have been working with him, but Debbie especially because she employed him basically this entire time, just fired him when he got arrested at the airport fleeing the country, and got even busted for having plans to pay him after he was supposed to have gotten back to Pakistan. And so Debbie is so incredibly incriminated. It's just like she's already up shit creek because the fraud lawsuit, the other DNC lawsuit, I mean, she's obviously in the hottest water, and she's by no means protected like Hillary Clinton is. Obviously, Hillary is a Clinton. She's in her little cast of Clintons, and her husband is president, which gives her kind of this kind of executive authority by affiliation in a weird way that protects her. That's part of the reason she's been able to get away with so much. Debbie Wasserman Schultz does not have that Clinton halo. And they are all such backstabbers too, and that's the other thing. It's just like, part of what I love about all this is if you've followed the Clintons for a long time and this whole group of people, they are nasty backstabbers. And like Chelsea Clinton, any of these people, we have absolutely no fucking clue who's turning on whom, who's stabbing each other in the back, who's stabbing each other in the front. It's only getting worse for them, and you know, we're seeing where they're getting paid, so it's like that's all their main concern. But the idea of knowing that they are all getting screwed, and like Huma and Cheryl Mills and Jake Sullivan, who were in whose Benghazi emails from the State Department, there's so much that's been happening. It's like, Jesus Christ, I don't even know how to talk about everything. This Benghazi, Judicial Watch won a lawsuit to get emails from 3 of Hillary Clinton's aides regarding the Benghazi response, years worth of emails from State Department that they previously withheld, obviously for a reason. Oh my god, amazing. So basically the entire Democratic Party is in complete paralysis because of how many special counsels are being proposed, and how many FBI investigations, and how many FOIA requests. There's so many people that are that are getting information requested from them, and got my purple wine teeth already. It feels great. So it matches my shirt. It's fine. Just drink more. So there's so many people in the party that are now basically deer in headlights, and they, like Uma Abedin, who's all of her State Department emails, Hillary's chief of staff, anything around Benghazi. This implicates Clinton Foundation. This implicates the entire Benghazi response. We know they were funneling arms illicitly through Libya to get to Syria, arming terrorists. We are going to see so much in just Uma's emails alone, and every single person that she emailed in that entire year's span, every single one of them that she emailed in general is now freaking out right now. Oh, did I email her on her state.gov, or did I email her on her Clinton email? Everyone's losing their shit right now. It's all done deals. They can't go back and change what they did. So much has come out since then. It's like they are all so screwed right now. It's so amazing to think about just how panicked they all are, like worrying about everything. It's like, you know, their paranoia is making them act out, which is a stressful thing, but we can at least enjoy knowing that they have like wild anxiety and paranoia beyond belief right now. It's really a good feeling. And how many of them feel this way, and how many of them are prone to backstabbing, and how many of them can just quit and move on. It's amazing to think about how basically they're all kind of rats off the sinking ship. They're all fighting to try and save the Democratic Party to some extent, but every single day things get more complicated and worse for all of them, and it's fucking amazing to watch. So we drink, and basically Imran Awan's indictment is kind of now this linchpin underneath it all, because basically the way that it grows out from here is he was indicted, and you can indict, you know, you can assemble a grand jury and indict someone fairly easily, so it's not necessarily that big of a deal, but at the same time, everyone knows how guilty this guy is based on anything. You know, you look at the extent, the fact that this has been going on for so many years is so horrifying to be like, our government is so corrupt that the people at the top have been doing this for this long, and this is how long it took for us to actually be able to start doing something about it. I'm pretty sure that this guy started working for Debbie in 2004. So if this, you know, it's hard to fathom how much bad shit they could have been orchestrating in this entire time. And so we know that it's reasonable that he got indicted. There are multiple counts. His wife got indicted also, which is also hugely damning. And it's really hard to wrap your mind around how much is like blowing up. It's just like I can't finish my article ever because it's bombshells destroy the Democrats, and there's just so many happening every day. And so the main thing to know about this, and the main thing to be talking about as we tell everyone and make sure that they know about this, is the two things that he got indicted for. And he worked for Debbie more than anyone else, but they were bank fraud and false statements. Those are legitimately the most two repetitious things we see in every Clinton scandal. There's bank fraud, there's shit going down in terms of the transactions, whatever it is, it's bank fraud in one way or the other, and manipulated by the bankers who are behind all of this, who are all like, you know, trying to lawyer up and protect themselves now too, because who knows, who really knows what could come from this special counsel. They are all, especially with the special counsel, there's like no one safe right now. It's amazing. Anyone who's not guilty of anything has nothing to worry about. It's absolutely amazing. Anyone who's not guilty of any pay-to-play, anyone who's not a shady-ass, corrupt-ass motherfucker has nothing to worry about right now because they're a good person and they didn't, you know, they're fine. Anyone who's been involved in the last 8 years trying to prep Clinton for becoming president, anyone who's involved in one way or the other through any of these groups is like, you know, if they're not on edge right now, they know all of the people in their circles are on edge. And, you know, it's just interesting to see how confident some of them are that they can just like wait it out. Like Hillary and Bill Clinton are going to do a book tour this fall right after September 11th. Bad idea. Bad idea that her What Happened book is dropping on September 12th. Changing the day the biggest pack of lies was ever sold to the American people by one day. Oh God. I don't even know how Hillary Clinton is releasing a book called What Happened. I'm gonna have readings. I'm just gonna schedule readings. I'm legitimately, maybe that's what I'll make my YouTube channel as. It's just like reading Hillary Clinton books and just reading the shit and fucking laughing my fucking ass off and just eviscerating her line by line, because it's all lies. It's literally just books of lies. And you're like, oh, why is she saying that? Oh, that's actually how I figured Hillary fucking Clinton out to begin with, is when Hard Choices came out and I read that shit. I was literally reading it and I was just like, literally line by line, it is saying exactly what she knows you want to hear, but which is why you know she's literally doing the exact opposite. And I knew that reading Hard Choices, and I'm like, she had 4 years to at least cover her fucking ass if she wanted to be president, and she was flagrantly corrupt for all to see, gave two shits about it as she destroyed the fucking world. And when I got to the Nicaragua or the Honduras section of the Hard Choices book, I was so sick at how she spun it. And that was when I was like, oh, it's going to be a never Hillary. It's going to be a never Hillary. Descansa en paz, Berta Cáceres. Because, oh God. Bad shit. And so anyone through all of those years of Clinton corruption is now implicated in one way or the other. Lawsuits are coming out. Emails are coming from all these Clinton aides from... That's actually really interesting, and I should go back. Oh my gosh, wow. Oof. Sorry. So we know Huma Abedin's emails from... I mean, I guess they're related to Benghazi, so maybe they'll filter out some of them. But you never know how implicated all these other things are. But if they're looking through Huma Abedin's emails between 2012 and 2013, a lot of shit went down. And she was Clinton's chief of staff. We could get a lot of fucking dirt out of that. But anyway, so... bank fraud and false statements were the two things that he is indicted for. We will see what comes of this, and basically this is now, underneath all of Debbie Wasserman Schultz's other scandals, we have her IT aide that she was mind-blowingly loyal to from an ethics perspective, unacceptable for how long she employed him, knowing that he was not, that he was under criminal investigation. I mean, this guy, it's so hard to even know where to start. There are so many problems with the relationship, but the main thing, these guys made, massive amounts of money in short periods of time. I don't know exactly how much it was, but the staffers that normally would be doing these IT jobs in DC, $40,000, $50,000 a year. These guys were paid like $1 million for 1 year or something absurd. They're being paid extremely absurd amounts of money. Obviously, we know that there's a lot more going on behind the scenes. And now they're completely busted. And, you know, who knows necessarily how compromised the investigations will be behind the scenes. We know that all of the Clinton-Obama holdovers are going to put all their political energy into trying to fix all of these investigations. So we'll see. That's why we need to keep the eyes on it and keep scrutiny on it. But the good thing is they are literally all in a state of paralysis, and the more they try to cover up what they're doing now, the more they just expose their wrongdoing now. So it's amazing just keeping conversation going and asking people to take stands and ask questions, because you can really just see so much of a response. And the other good thing about asking questions and getting people to tweet, like how I was tweeting at Ro Khanna. Everybody get Twitter, sign on to Twitter, retweet people, post, just go at people. One of my friends on Twitter just got a retweet on Julian Assange's Twitter. Curry, what's up? I don't know if you're watching. I can scroll. But anyway, my buddy got a retweet on Julian Assange's Twitter. And Twitter really, really, really has a lot. Obviously, I am one to talk. Twitter, Donald Trump made Twitter a very, very, very legitimate platform. And with all of its censorship, to me, it's very much just like a newspaper. Obviously, a newspaper only allows a certain amount of information on it. Twitter is the same way. Twitter only allows a certain amount of information on it. Observing what's in the spectrum of information they allow is part of the situation. But Twitter gives us an unprecedented and new and ongoing way to be constantly reaching out to people in the establishment, constantly reaching out to people in the media, and even if just, anyone can just go on Twitter with a copy and paste and be like, you are fake news, and just like go on Joy Reid every day and be like, you're fake news, you're fake news, you're fake news to every single one of her posts. And legitimately, if you did that, I would love you for it and retweet you every time. And just being little flies and gnats around these assholes online takes up their time, slows them down, they're being paid for it. That might make them want to quit their job. That's it's all super productive. So get on Twitter and go fucking piss people off, and it's just one of those things. That's basically just troll people. Donald Trump invented that he became president really turned Twitter troll culture. It's literally Twitter troll culture got elected to be the president of the United States. That is so insane to think about. So get on Twitter, because literally the sky is the limit. It's insane. And Twitter's fun. And yeah. So underneath all of this, I don't really necessarily have any place to go with this, because we have to find out what the result of the indictment is. We'll see anything can happen at this point. I don't know enough about. There's not that much news about where the jurisdiction, what the charges are. I don't know how to analyze anything about what it is, other than knowing that this affects basically everything from here up. The most important thing to remember about this is not only was it bank fraud and false statements, but this is all completely encompassing of the DNC. Not only were Debbie and her colleagues in the Congress using these guys, and so this basically implicates everyone in Congress has been using these guys. They're all screwed. All of their information is absolutely compromised by these people. They're all freaking out, lawyering up, in complete paralysis right now, just pointing the finger at Trump, because that's the only thing they can do. But Debbie, especially, the DNC fraud lawsuit, this has implications in the DNC fraud lawsuit, because it incriminates Debbie. Judges are judges for that very reason, as they look at all of the circumstances of the situation. And now anything indicting that comes out about Debbie on this affects, it's already just too late, it affects her, persona, her interests, everything on the DNC fraud lawsuit. And she's a defendant in the DNC fraud lawsuit. And there's just so much to fucking think about and say. It's insane. But basically, All of this is an indictment of Debbie, and she is at the crux of so much because she was the DNC chair and then Hillary Clinton's campaign director, obviously was using the Imran and his brothers probably the entire time because they were all on various off-site servers. It's insane. Like, this is literally the absolute IT fabric of the entire fraud system that just has been taking place the past 8 years. And now the IT guy who ran it all has been indicted for 4 counts, including bank fraud and false statements. I mean, it couldn't be better of a first domino for us. Honestly, cheers. I'm drinking a lot, but it's a good day. It legitimately couldn't be better because now everywhere out from here, this branches out. And there's a fraud lawsuit against the DNC. The DNC is also being sued. Oh my God. They're also being sued for paying massive bonuses while underpaying field organizers. And that lawsuit's another lawsuit. And that's not even related to the fact that Hillary Clinton also was just busted for transferring $800,000 from her campaign to her super PAC. And it's just like, I don't know how I'm expected to even talk about all of the corruption that happens in the Clinton umbrella because it is so constant, and that it's just like, okay, where do we even begin? $800,000 left over from the Hillary Clinton campaign that we know from the DNC lawsuit about underpaying their staff is that they were the Clinton campaign literally, while she was on her ass in Broadway at Hamilton for a 3rd time, her campaign employees were working overtime in swing states that she couldn't even be bothered to show up to. She wasn't even paying them. She was sitting on all of this money. And this is so indicting for the lawsuit about the payroll for the DNC, and I need to look more into who filed that lawsuit and talk to them about the ramifications, because basically we know now that and she had no problem with everyone finding this out. Hillary Clinton had $800,000 at minimum, $800,000 sitting around after her presidential campaign that she finally now had a way to transfer into her new super PAC. That she had $800,000 sitting around and didn't pay overtime, didn't pay standard wages to her own campaign employees. Like, you'd think if Hillary Clinton were to pay anyone fairly, if Hillary Clinton were to pay anyone fairly, which she doesn't, she gives fat checks to her friends and she shits on everyone else. If she were to pay anyone fairly, you would think it would be the people actually on the ground trying to help her win. But she's such a piece of shit. She wouldn't even pay the people on the ground trying to win the election for her for the amount of time that they were putting into that effort. It's really hard to fathom the level of greed and arrogance and entitlement that Hillary would literally be like, oh, my organizers are working overtime in the swing states. I don't want to go to the swing states. Oh my God, everyone there is broke. What do you mean overtime? I don't have to pay them overtime. I'm going to need money after the election, one way or the other. That's literally what Hillary says about the people working for her. Like, the few people that worked for Hillary Clinton's ground campaign being out there fighting for the, hopefully it was people that were naive and thought they were doing the right thing, because I don't know why anyone would be voting or going out and saying, please vote for Hillary. I could not say that to anyone with a straight face. But the people that did, Hillary Clinton didn't even pay fairly, and she literally hoarded at least $800,000 to give to herself after the election, whether she got elected or not. And that is so fucking hilarious and fucked up to begin with. I just don't even know, that's just that. Was it legal? Probably not. What is she doing with it now? We don't know. Well, she's got a book deal. I don't even have enough time to research all of the shit that she gets herself into. And I swear that's part of her plan. It's just break so many laws that people can't even keep up with it, because then invariably you're going to get away with some of them. And someone like her that can skate through all the other ones, it's like that's part of the strategy. But fortunately, it was exposed that she just, well, and that's honestly really pretty freaking audacious for her, whatever way it was transferred, laundered, I should say. She did, obviously, knowing. She just legitimately thinks that she'll never, ever have any consequences, and hopefully she will, or at least her aides will, and maybe she'll feel shitty about that, that her people that have helped her this entire time that were supposed to be her White House staff right now are going to get locked up because she threw them all under the bus in her last few minutes of fame before she withdraws from public life like the pariah that she should be. But that she transferred $800,000, which is of course the same number of dollars that Obama got from Wall Street speeches after he left office. So literally at the end of when Clinton lost, Barack got an $800,000 thank you from Wall Street, and Hillary Clinton got an $800,000. She had $800,000 left over that she was just like, just in my campaign fund alone, it's gonna sit on that. We'll see what I do with that. Oh, I better start another organization so I can move it. I hope all of them are evaluated thoroughly and independently, and it's kind of a scary concept to think of how many people would actually get arrested if they really did, because Judge Jeanine Pirro, who you may watch, and you should because she goes on some amazing rants for all it's worth, she put on blast the entire Clinton Foundation, and if we had an actual functioning fair government, the entire Clinton Foundation would be in front of a grand jury, because that is, as Charles Ortel has very, very detailedly shown, basically the Clinton Foundation is just an entire scam. It's like the biggest scam in the history of time. So hopefully all of those people get, shown to justice. We'll see. But the good news is that Imran Awan was indicted on numerous counts of bank fraud and false statements, and that indicts Debbie Wasserman Schultz, who's a Clinton campaign person, and obviously the DNC clown in charge, and all of the stuff upward. Every single investigation from there now in some way is related back to the IT director. Not even just a random, like, I'm trying to give them credit and be like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. No, this is literally her main IT guy. Her number one IT guy legitimately was indicted for bank fraud and false statements. And that doesn't even get into what was going on the IT devices that he was managing. So it's a really great thing that it's blowing open, and I'm really excited about that. Keep drinking. I feel like I don't really have any like super big points to make because I don't want to address, because so much has waved out the past few days. Okay, so let me talk about a few quick things. And can somebody tell me what time it is? Because I'm probably going to pop off. I think I'm probably around an hour now. So a couple things coming up. So tomorrow night I am going to do a live stream with Hard Bastard on his Hard News Network channel. So Hard Bastard, if you don't follow Hard Bastard, he's one of my absolute favorite people on earth at this point. He's doing an amazing YouTube channel, so check out Hard Bastard. I'm going to be doing a live stream with him tomorrow. We did one 2 weeks ago on the Young Turks, which was really fun, and we're going to talk about that again, although we don't have a totally set discussion topic, but it's going to be related to the Young Turks and the $20 million investment they took, and more dirt on the Young Turks. So check out Hard Bastard tomorrow night. So in terms of indie media in general, here are the plugs. Support Real Progressives. Thanks for being here. My name is Zach Haller. I have a Patreon. I have a Medium account. I encourage you to follow me and participate with me in those places. We're basically, all of us in the indie media are trying to start moving in and replacing all the corporate media that we're moving away from. So just try to move your resources and your time and your attention towards indie media folks. There's a lot of really good people out there, and I am having a really nice time writing the last section of this article, this long, like dramatic 5-piece series called "The Long Red Summer Bombshells Destroy the Democrats." As I finish, I'm writing the last section about the media, and I'm going to have some basically recommendations in there about who all to follow and stuff like that. But indie media really has to be the future. We have to replace the corporate media with just average, everyday people who are sharing voices from different places. So thank you for supporting indie media. Check me out on Patreon. Check me out on Medium. Follow along with the Real Progressives community. And I'm going to start doing super chats on YouTube. So check out my YouTube channel, The Zach Haller Affair. And give me any types of feedback in terms of what programming you would like, what time of day you like to listen to. Basically, after Labor Day, I'm going to announce a schedule for what times I'm doing streams, and we'll have set content, and everything's just kind of up in the air right now. So the more feedback is good, and thank you all. So I know that all of the people, so I'm like, all of the names that I see across the bottom of the screen are all of like my favorite people and the people who are so supportive to me. And I can't thank you guys enough, because this last article, each article I do gets a little bit bigger. And I am so relieved, because I'm like, okay, more people are thinking what I'm thinking. That feels good. It's reassuring to know the truth is getting out there, because I just consider what I write to be the truth, and the truth that the mainstream media is not saying. So it's good that we are getting more stuff out there. But I get so much harassment, and it doesn't really bother me, because I'm like, this is like one fraction of my life. It's just my cell phone. Like, anyone that follows me on the internet, I've never met in person. And everyone that I know in real life, like, doesn't even know I have Twitter. Like, I have this completely weird world. But I have to check as much of the mentions and as much of the stuff I can, because I get a lot of bad harassment from the David Brock troll army and all those people. And I don't even want to get into it, because it's not worth it. But it is a lot, and it's really taxing, and it's exhausting, and it was the worst it's ever been after my Charlottesville article. And they're definitely, so David Brock, and so basically, and I talked about this in my article, as most of you probably read, but basically the entire Hillary Clinton campaign just transitioned all of their campaign entity into now new super PACs, things that are still pushing her brand in the Democratic Party. So they're still trying to shit on people like me, and it's just getting bigger of an effort for them to deal with me, and it's fine because I don't give a shit, but it's exhausting, and the amount of corruption that we're dealing with is stressful, and I, always write naked and like smoking and high and fun and happy, so like I'm in a good mood, but at the same time, like, it gets really stressful, and there's been a lot of really stressful things that I've had to read, and I'm just kind of glossing over it. But the point is that Shane and Chris and Shay and Jan and Sarah and Melissa and Katya and Sophia and Bill, and let's see here if I can scroll. It won't let me scroll. Anyway, all of you guys, all of my close people, thank you so much for just like, sticking up for me and sticking around, and like, reminding new people that meet me that I'm not an asshole, because, I fire off a lot of random shit, but like, I read a million fucking things a day. Like, I'm just doing this all the time, and then like an hour later I'm like, oh, all these people are angry at me about that one. Oh, well, they don't know my shtick is that just like tweet a bunch of things, make 1 point per tweet, and then move on. So thanks for everyone who has been with me this week, because I am good, so don't worry about it. I'm totally good. No suicide thoughts whatsoever. I'm super happy in life in general, and I'm super optimistic about the future, as grim as it may seem. That's why I feel like we know that it's going well for us, is because they're trying to make it seem really bad. I think that they know that the end is near for them, and they're throwing their last fits. So I'm really optimistic about the future, and so I can't really be bothered by the harassment. But I do get a lot of harassment for what I'm writing, and that to me means that I'm saying the right things, which means that the bad shit that I see is probably actually happening. So thanks to everybody for supporting me on that. it means the world to me, truly, and I think that we're doing a really good job in general, and I'm really happy and proud of all of us, and I am, just happy that I just have the energy to just, like, stay involved in everything. I don't know. It just feels, it feels great to have the support. I've met a lot of amazing people. We are killing it from my perspective. I don't want to, like, gloat, but my following is getting bigger and we're getting way more stuff out there. So from my opinion, the people are getting shit out there through me. Folks are helping me with so much, having amazing conversations on a daily basis. I love all of you guys, and every time I finish a post, I want to be like, P.S. I love you. Because seriously, like, this is all just coming out of nowhere, because I was tweeting on my phone over 2016, and now we have a total mouthpiece to address the establishment, and that's fucking amazing. And thank you all for supporting me, and thank you all for helping do what you do to support me, because that's why we're here, and we can make as many more people that get supported like me, like I was, as long as we all just keep doing this. It's amazing. And so keep it up and stay good, because you guys are all fucking good ass people. And I love you all, and thanks for joining me. My name is Zach Haller. Drink a little bit more, even if it's just water is life. And next week I will have a very dramatic painted setup that I'll give you a tour on. But I hope everyone has a nice weekend, and I will be in touch with you again soon. Have a good day. Support real progressives and all the indie media journalists. Peace out, guys.